Hi, this is Mr. Shakespeare, and I'm here again today with Liz Cross, psychic medium and remote viewer extraordinaire, and we're going to do some good mind probes today. So today, Liz, welcome.
Thank you.
We are going to do Alexander Mercouris.
I've never heard of this person.
Good. It's better if you don't.
Yeah, it is. So I don't already have an opinion. I have no idea who this is.
No.
Okay. Who is this?
Well, he actually was a lawyer, an attorney, a lawyer by trade. He's part Greek, part English. He lives in the UK, in England. Again, he's a geopolitical analyst, but his speciality is he's following the Ukraine Russia special military operation, as they want to call it. So he's we're not gonna do too much in this, but there are a few things that we would like to know for him, because he does an active blog pretty much every day, and he's part of something with another guy called Alex Christopoulos, I think his name is, and called the Duran, which is very good as well. So have you got a connection with him?
I do.
Okay, we need to take him forward to the 7th of January 2023.
7th of January. He's like, where am I going? I'm trying to move him. He's like, where am I going? Wait a minute. You know, you feel it when I move you. You felt it before, haven't you?
Oh, yes.
You remember I forgot to put you down one time and you had to text me and say, Liz, put me down. What did you feel? I mean, was there like an uncomfortable feeling?
I wouldn't call it uncomfortable, but it's I don't know. It feels like there's a slight. I'm going to use the word hold. It's not hold. It's just there. I mean, it's weird. I can't. Sometimes when you've moved me before, I haven't really noticed it, and sometimes I do. But that time when you didn't drop me, yeah, that was.
It was about 3 hours later. I was like, "Oops,
yeah,
sorry."
Liz, please drop me, please.
Yeah, because it does make you a little sort of out of alignment. That's what I think.
Out of sorts. Yeah.
Yeah. I had one guy dry heaving in the toilet a few weeks ago. He had motion sickness. He was like, oh my God, I feel so ill. I was like, oh, sorry. So now I know to ask when, people come to me for readings and I'm moving them if they want to move forward and get an overview of what their life is going to be. About a particular situation. I now ask if they have motion sickness because I don't want them to be ill. So let me move him January 7th, 2023. Okay, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What would you like to know?
How's England doing at the moment?
Is he English, by the way?
Well, no, he's half English, half Greek, but he lives in England. He lives in London. Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I wonder if he lives close to where I used to live. There's a big Greek community there in the borough that I lived in.
Not far.
Oh, really? Okay, so because you know where I used to live in London. Okay, so how is England doing at the moment? It's terrible. It's terrible.
What's terrible? The weather?
Not today. It's baking hot there today, isn't it?
Well, today it is, but we're asking him about January the 7th, so.
Yeah, you got lucky this year, though. Isn't today the hottest day on record?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it? The weather? Well, the weather's always dire. He says it's cold, it's gray, it's miserable. But what else? Why do you say that England is terrible? Now, this is his personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions that are coming in here. He says, I don't like it here. He doesn't like the winter weather. He doesn't like being there. I feel he's ready to move out of the UK.
Oh, okay. Right. How's the economy doing in the UK there?
How's the economy doing in the UK? Diabolical.
Right. How's our interaction with the EU doing? How's the UK?
How's the interaction with the EU doing? It's very fractious, very fractious.
Right. What about our relationship with the US? How's that?
About their relationship with the US. It's practically non-existent. Now, at this point, there's a new prime minister in, okay? And I feel like the new prime minister, whoever's coming in, is not really getting along with, is Biden still in power? Yes, Biden is still in power, is not really getting along with Biden.
Right. Do we know who the prime minister is?
Do we know who the prime minister is? Yes, he knows. Give me some candidates and I'll ask.
Liz Truss.
Liz Truss. Is she the, because I felt like it was a female. Okay. Is it a female or a male? I feel like it's a female. I think you may have hit the bullseye there.
Okay, but there are two females at the moment in contention for
Who's
the
the other
prime.
one?
Mordaunt, Peggy Mordaunt, or Peggy.
I've
Yes.
never heard of her, Peggy Mordaunt. I knew Liz Truss, but I mean, I only know Liz Truss because I get the feed from Have I Got News for You?
Right.
They're always making fun of her. Mordaunt, no, Mordaunt is a no.
So it must be Liz Truss.
And very well, at the current timeline we're looking on right now, it looks to be that it could very well be Liz Truss. Now, I say that with a caution. And those of you that have followed me for a long time, including you, Mr. Shakespeare, you know that if something happens, it'll put a spanner in the works and then that timeline changes, right? So it becomes completely different. But right now, how we're going at the moment, it looks like it could be Liz Truss. Now, she's not doing so well. The prime minister, whoever it is not doing so well. People have already lost faith and confidence, and they're actually wishing they had Boris back in power, surprisingly.
Right. What happened to Rishi Sunak?
What happened to Rishi? He failed. He just doesn't come across as very likable.
Okay. Right.
I feel like there's a lot of contention with Rishi in the House of Parliament and the MPs and the backbenchers. There's a big thing there. They don't really like him. I don't know why. Does it have anything to do with his wife? I think it does have something to do with his wife.
Right. Okay. Did the Russians cut off the oil to the EU?
Did the Russians cut off oil to the EU? Partially, yes.
And what about gas? Is Russian gas still flowing to the EU? Or?
Is Russian gas still flowing to the EU? No, it's pretty much stopped to a drip.
Okay. How is the EU dealing with the fact that they have no gas and only little oil coming in from Russia?
How is the EU dealing with the fact that they only have a little gas and a little bit of oil coming in from Russia? It's in a terrible state. People are struggling to heat their homes. I feel like the gas is on ration, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's just a nightmare. People are cold and people are fed up. I feel like there's this mass exodus of people wanting to get out of the European Union and Europe and the UK altogether. So they're looking to go wherever they can. They're just fed up with the whole thing.
Okay. How's petrol prices in the UK?
How's
The
petrol
highest,
prices?
are they the highest they've ever been?
Are they the highest they've ever been? They've actually gone a little bit lower. Now, what I'm getting is that the information that's coming in is they've had to find a different way to source the petrol, and I feel like they're sourcing it more from the Middle East.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. What's happening in Ukraine?
What's happening in Ukraine? They've lost.
Did Zelensky admit defeat and sue for peace?
Did Zelensky admit defeat? No, he'll never admit defeat.
Is he still in power?
Is he still in power? No.
Okay. Is there
That brings me to, sorry to stop you there. That brings
Sorry.
me to a point. Now, those are excellent questions, Mr. Shakespeare. Oops, sorry, I hit my knee on the desk. The reason I say that is because I keep getting something happens towards the end of the year that causes a massive loss of confidence in the markets, and that causes a massive downturn. Okay, so as we've probed here on this current timeline that we're on, and by the way, guys, it could change. Okay, it can be delayed, it can come forward. Timelines are fluid here, but that speaks volumes to me, where I've always said that the Ukraine would lose the war, that Russia would take over, and then Russia would then start, trying to land grab in other areas of Europe. This could be the very thing that causes a massive decline in the markets towards the end of the year. I just wanted to put that in there.
Okay.
We have to check it closer to the time. I don't like to go out this far. I
I
like
know.
to just go out 3 or 4
And I'm trying
days.
to ask asymmetric questions of people. I mean, this guy follows what goes on in Ukraine. He almost does a daily report of it. So,
Great.
he would have his finger on the pulse. So, yeah,
Great.
I mean, so he's worth remote viewing from that point of view.
Fabulous.
Okay. The government that's in Ukraine now, is it basically a Russian government?
Basically a Russian. It's Russian Federation.
Russian Federation, yeah. Okay. Anything happened to Poland?
Anything happened to Poland? Yes, they're bracing themselves, he says. What are you bracing yourselves for? Potential war. They're all getting ready for Putin's next move. Now, that's where we can do additional probing to find out what these next moves are going to be. As long as we keep the timeline close in, we can definitely try to probe what his next moves are going to be. I feel like Hungary is still on the cards for Putin. He loves Hungary, and I don't know why. I believe the occasional host of the Most Max said that Hungarians were sympathizers or pro-Russian. So it could be that he's going the easy route first, which would be to go to Hungary, even though they are a NATO country. But again, we will probe into that closer to the time.
Okay. Right. Did any of the other Baltic countries have any problems with the Ukraine-Russia situation throughout the rest of 2022? I'm thinking of Latvia, Estonia, things like that, Lithuania, countries like that.
Baltic countries have problems with the Russia-Ukraine situation? Yes, several. And what was what were the complications there? They're all bracing themselves for war. They're all waiting for the next move. I feel like the complications are also the free movement of goods. I feel like there's a big problem there. Goods are not being transported across country lines. There's going to be, shortages and things like that. So yeah. And I'm also pulling from that probe or this current question that there's going to be supply chain issues out of China as well. So they're going to be hit with a double whammy. Europe is as a whole, there's going to be supply chain issues out of China. And then there's also going to be this deficit of free movement of goods across Europe.
Is the free movement of goods across Europe anything to do with, is this an EU dictate? Is this something that the EU have done?
Is this something that the EU have done? Partially, yes, they're partially responsible. Yes, because I feel like it has to do with a lot of sanctions and movement. I feel now that there's some sort of battle taking place where cargo ships are not being allowed to go into certain waters. It's too dangerous. So they're going to have to enter into different ports, which are far away. And those ports are, there are going to be a hindrance. Your goods are not going to be there as fast as they normally were. Now, that's the current timeline that we're on right now.
Ask him, has there been any uprisings in any of the major European countries throughout the rest of 2022?
Has there been any uprisings throughout major uprisings throughout the rest of 2022 in these European countries? No, not major, but then he's saying something about the US. Has there been a major uprising in 2022 in the US? I feel like there has been another big uprising here, and I feel like it has to do with police brutality again. So pretty much same old, but it looks like come around September, October, there's going to be another incident coming around where it's going to cause, protests and possibly looting, rioting again. And it's going to have to do with police brutality.
Right. Okay. Okay. Is food shortages, whether by design or not, are they a real problem throughout the UK at the moment?
Yes, it is a big problem. We're no longer getting, what he's telling me is we're no longer getting like the luxury items that are grown really outside of the UK. Those sorts of things are very, very expensive. Just the basics are very expensive as well. Food, bread, Lurpak. I've already seen Lurpaks like what, £7 a pop now? You can make your bloody own. I mean, you just shake the, you know what I mean? You can just shake the heavy cream and put some salt in it, make your own butter. Mind you, you can't beat English butter though. It's really delicious. So yeah, I feel like there's the staples. Coffee. I don't know why he just threw coffee at me, but coffee is a big one. What about tea? No, tea is okay, but coffee supply for some reason, again, I think that's a supply chain issue.
Right. Okay. And in the EU, is it a similar situation throughout the European Union or the western part of the European Union?
Is in a similar situation throughout the European Union? Well, what he's saying to me is Eastern Europe is already on its knees anyway, financially. They struggle to cope. A lot of those countries are really poor. They're trying to attach themselves to Western Europe, and this is really, really making it impossible for them to sort of latch on to Western Europe in order to, become more logistically feasible. Does that make sense? Because I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay. Final question for him for this session. For him, is there anything that, looking back on the last 6 months, 6 months, sorry, that either he wish he'd changed because he should have done something, or advice that he can give anybody?
Oh, good question. In the last 6 months, like he would like to give an advice. He said hindsight's a fine thing, that old British expression. Hindsight's a fine thing. If we know now what we, if we knew then what we know now, he's like, we all would have packed our bags. He's of the mindset that it's really not worth staying in the UK anymore. He doesn't believe Europe is profitable. He believes this is now the European winter for many years to come. Europe is really starting to struggle. Yeah, there's pockets that are going to be okay, but overall, it's going to be increasingly difficult for people.
How does he, sorry, there will be one more question because that's just triggered a question, sorry. How did the World Economic Forum's agenda pan out for the last 6 months?
It didn't.
All of it? None of it? Half of it? Some of it?
All of it. They're stalled. Their agenda is only good when the economy is good. Because when the economy is good, people don't tend, now this is his answer, people don't tend to scrutinize the economy that much, right? They're more ready to go with the flow. They're sort of open to new ideas. It's easier to control people and suck them into these bad ideologies when life is good, right? When life is bad, this is what he's saying, and I actually understand what he's saying. When life is bad, everybody is on high alert. Therefore, you're going to scrutinize everything that is being thrown your way because you're in survival mode, right? And what happens when you're in survival mode? You're looking at every single thing and you're analyzing and how, you know, trying to make predictions on your own future, that if you go with a certain thing or go in a certain pathway, how will it pan out? Because you now, every single, in survival mode, every single decision matters. When you are in a, you know, good economy, you don't tend to look at those things as heavily or in depth. Does that make sense? Because it actually makes sense to me.
Yeah,
it's
it
very
makes,
profound.
yeah, it makes very good sense. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have for him. Thank you very much for him.
Yes, thank you.